Today, all the students gathered in the school hallway, precisely in front of the announcement board. The examination results of the students were displayed from first place to last. Hakari, Karane, and Shizuka were at the very back of the line. They were waiting for Rentaro, who was retrieving his forgotten gadget from the classroom. He wanted to photograph his exam results. The gadget was extremely precious to him, more than his own life, as it contained photos of their cherished memories. Rentaro entered his classroom and found his gadget on the table. He noticed a girl sitting alone in the front row. Her name was Ai Nano. Rentaro informed her that the exam results were posted and asked if she wanted to see them. Nano replied that it was pointless, as she was certain she had secured the first position. Checking the results would be a waste of time. As Nano turned her face towards Rentaro, they locked eyes, both feeling a jolt of surprise. Rentaro realized that Nano must be his destined one. He invited Nano to check the results together. However, Nano insisted it would be a waste of time. Rentaro apologized and left. Hakari ranked 25th out of 240 students. Shizuka was 44th, and Karane stood at 87th, just above Rentaro, who was 88th. Rentaro felt proud and commended his 3 girlfriends for their hard work. He noticed Ai Nano's name at the top, securing a perfect score in every subject. Rentaro asked his 3 girlfriends if they knew the top-ranking Ai Nano. They informed him that Nano was their classmate, often seen studying diligently by the window. According to rumors, she could answer any question from any subject accurately and efficiently. So everyone assumed she was either AI or artificial intelligence. Today, the first-year class was conducting a biology practical in the laboratory. Students were tasked with drawing the onion epidermal cell by observing an onion slice under a microscope. They worked in groups, and by chance, Rentaro was in the same group as Nano. Hakari, Karane, and Shizuka were in the neighboring group. Rentaro was still captivated by Nano. He offered to fetch the microscope. As Rentaro gazed at Nano, she seemed different from Hakari, Karane, or Shizuka, who he imagined as sweet and charming. Nano appeared beautiful and captivating. Rentaro arrived with the microscope, stating that this was a hands-on activity, so there was no need for textbooks. He was surprised to see Nano redrawing their group's assignment from the textbook. Nano argued that redrawing from the textbook was more efficient than observing through the microscope. She also claimed that the practical was pointless, as it involved repeating previous answers and was a waste of time. When the teacher arrived to monitor the students, Rentaro quickly urged Nano to do it correctly. Nano glanced through the microscope and remarked that it was merely a formality. The image she saw was not from the onion slice, but from her textbook. Rentaro began to understand why Nano was perceived as an odd genius by her peers. Rentaro was slicing an onion when he accidentally cut his finger. He rinsed the wound and said he would go to the school medical room to treat it. Nano, seeing this, offered a more efficient solution. She sucked on Rentaro's injured finger. Rentaro was instantly surprised by Nano's action. According to Nano, saliva contains antibacterial properties, and minor cuts don't need antiseptic solutions. Rentaro couldn't believe he was witnessing someone as beautiful as Nano licking his finger. He admired Nano's beauty up close, even imagining her soft lips and warm saliva. It felt like a dream. Fortunately, Rentaro's 3 girlfriends didn't see this scene, as they had their backs turned. After the biology practical, Rentaro thanked Nano for treating his wound. Nano said she did it because cleaning up the laboratory equipment alone wasn't efficient. Rentaro intended to buy her juice as a thank you, but Nano declined. Rentaro wanted to chat more closely with Nano, but she felt it wouldn't be beneficial. Rentaro tried to convince her, saying that enjoyable conversations were as beneficial as spending time on hobbies or outings. Nano disagreed, believing that leisure activities wouldn't improve exam scores or performance, so they weren't beneficial. Rentaro argued that grades and performance weren't everything. But for Nano, anything not needed for the future wasn't beneficial. They continued debating their points. Nano added that beneficial things included money, equipment, and knowledge. She ended the debate and walked away, leaving Rentaro in contemplation about whether Nano was truly his destined one. That night, while studying, Nano thought about Rentaro. She reflected on her actions in the laboratory. realizing she wanted to be useful to him and wished to be loved by him. Saliva on a wound could lead to infection, but she didn't understand the emotions she was experiencing. Nano lost focus on her studies, continuously writing the number phi by extending the digits after the decimal point. She filled her whiteboard and several pages of paper, realizing she had wasted significant time. The next morning, Nano approached Rentaro in class and confessed her feelings. She asked him to start a relationship with her. Rentaro admitted he liked Nano too and hoped they could be together. Unexpectedly, Nano apologized, saying Rentaro should have rejected her. Since that didn't happen, she decided to reject him. Nano met Rentaro intending to end their budding relationship. Rentaro was puzzled because they both had feelings for each other. Nano believed that love only led to marriage and children, which she wasn't ready for. She also felt that student relationships were unproductive and a waste of time. Nano firmly decided not to date Rentaro. Rentaro shared his life story, having faced rejection in love 100 times before, but those rejections wouldn't deter his pursuit of Nano. Rentaro couldn't easily let go of their relationship. He proposed a one-day date with Nano and promised not to pursue her further if it failed. A few days later, they went on a date. This was Rentaro's first date. He was captivated seeing Nano in casual attire. Rentaro's mission for the day was to make Nano happy and to show that spending time with loved ones was worthwhile. The first thing they did was ride a carousel. Nano wondered why there was a horse training machine in a playground and what it was used for. Rentaro replied that it was a toy, not a training machine. Rentaro took out a Polaroid camera, having liked it since childhood. However, Nano found it pointless because it couldn't store data or have duplicate files. If a photo was lost, there would be no copy. Rentaro just smiled at Nano's overly rational response. He took a flat-faced picture of Nano and showed it to her immediately. Next, they visited a haunted house attraction. Nano didn't believe in ghosts because they couldn't be scientifically proven. Rentaro was startled when a ghost suddenly appeared, but Nano told him it was a living person. Several ghosts appeared, even one pulling Rentaro's leg, terrifying him. Nano remained indifferent, stating they were humans, so why be surprised? She believed the attraction should be called House of Humans since all the figures were human. They continued their date by riding the spinning teacup attraction. It was Nano's first time on this ride, and she found it bizarre. She questioned why people would enter a large spinning cup and what desire they sought to fulfill. Nano also couldn't understand why no one questioned the strangeness of it. She even suspected it might be a brainwashing device, spinning people with accompanying music. They proceeded to a large maze attraction. Nano climbed the walls to determine the most efficient route from above. As they navigated the maze and reached a dead end, Nano commented they should have made a correct path, as this was a waste of time. None of the attractions they tried seemed to evoke any expression from Nano. She viewed them all as a waste of time. Rentaro then invited her to ride the Ferris wheel, believing the date wouldn't be complete without it. As their Ferris wheel gondola ascended, Nano's hands trembled. She was afraid of heights. Fear of life-threatening heights was a natural instinct. Rentaro offered to sit next to her, to which Nano nodded. Her trembling hand held Rentaro's. Rentaro held Nano's hand back. She was surprised and let go, but then Rentaro held her hand again. After the ride ended, Rentaro thanked Nano for the day's date. The playground would close in 30 minutes. Rentaro and Nano sat looking at Rentaro's photos. Nano's expressions seemed flat, but Rentaro could discern which faces looked bored and which looked happy. Nano was puzzled since she was often told she lacked feelings. While today made Nano happy, she felt she hadn't gained anything from it. She even considered the day unproductive and apologized to Rentaro. Rentaro understood, believing everyone had their own way of feeling things. He appreciated Nano's honesty about her feelings. Seeing the day as unproductive, he decided to discard all the photos and intended to burn them. He lit a match and set one pile of photos on fire. Reflecting on their day together, Nano swiftly grabbed a stack of photos from Rentaro's hands. The edge of one photo caught fire slightly. Rentaro commented that Nano shouldn't lose something she didn't own, yet now she feared losing something. This showed she had gained something she previously lacked. Whatever Nano had gained might not have a clear definition or affect her grades and performance, or even be useful for her future. But she had obtained something so precious that it touched her heart. Unknowingly, Nano shed tears of emotion. Rentaro wanted to show that spending time like this was the most meaningful thing in someone's life. Nano confessed her love to Rentaro and asked him to be in a relationship with her. She wanted something more than just falling in love with him. She also wanted to spend time with Rentaro to discover many things she didn't know. Rentaro stood up and said he loved Nano too and would spend time with her. As Rentaro reached out his hand, Nano pulled him close and kissed him. At school, Rentaro introduced Nano to his 3 other girlfriends and asked if they would accept Nano. Unexpectedly, all 3 agreed. Rentaro and his 4 girlfriends planned to go on a date together. Their destination would be a swimming pool resort. What the fun would be like, we'll find out in the next episode.